Exploring the latest Pokemon regions, catching the wild Pokemon and training them to grow strong. Challenging the gyms to eventually reach the Pokemon League and become champion.
Stop right there!
Wait, I need how many badges? 8? Yeah, and I've got 5, 6, 7... Did I skip the gym in Saffron City again? Oh, this is like my 14th playthrough. Gym badges. Now you might think like, whoa, hang on. How's this guy gonna talk about gym badges for that much time? What is there even to explain? Like it's the Boulder Badge from the rock type gym, shaped like a gemstone colored like a rock because gems are rocks. Like what more is there? And that pretty much sums up the Boulder Badge. I mean, you could also mention that it's in Pewter City, and pewter itself is a very silvery gray color too. But that's just one badge, and it's a simple one. But now, why is the Soul Badge the poison type one? And then the Marsh Badge is Psychic? And it looks like this? And why does the grass-type garden-living gym leader Erica give you the Rainbow Badge instead of, like, a leaf? And then Giovanni gives you a leaf? I have questions! And I have answers. So let's go in order now, shall we? After you beat Brock, the rock with a B, you head to the water-type gym in Cerulean City, led by Misty to get the Cascade Badge. It's a water-colored water droplet, go figure. But like the city, it's cerulean, the color, which is really just fancy talk for fancy blue. Now, it's called the Cascade Badge because that word describes waterfalls. The water cascades down the cliffside. To cascade means to pour downward rapidly and in large quantities. So yeah, waterfalls, which themselves happen to be very misty. Next is the Thunder Badge, clearly the electric-type gym ran by Lieutenant Surge, but this badge design doesn't really scream thunder or lightning, now does it? Sure, it's yellow and orange. Vermilion, even. That's also the name of the city it's in. It's Pikachu and Raichu colors, which is fitting, but what's with this design? It's like a flower, but why? Lieutenant Surge doesn't exactly strike me as the romantic type. His attraction value is currently through the roof. Like, oh my god. Beefy man in uniform, he doesn't need to be romantic. I've gotten sidetracked again. This should help. This video is brought to you by Helix Sleep. Have you seen how tall Lieutenant Surge is? To look him in the eye, you gotta like bend and throw out your back, which then makes sleeping a pain on an old and worn out and not even good to begin with mattress. But Helix Sleep wants to help. They make premium mattresses customized to fit your needs. By taking their quick and easy online sleep quiz, they can match you to the perfect mattress based on you and a partner's body types and sleep preferences. Side sleeper? Back sleeper? Face? Do you prefer firm or soft? And how about your significant other? Are they hot or cold sleepers? Are they extremely tall? And then it's shipped right to you, all packed up nice, easy to set up, and even easier to sleep on. Because you know there's a 100-night sleep trial to make sure you love it. And then there's a 10-year warranty too. I've had my Helix Midnight Lux for half a decade and I still love it. Especially the cooling cover in the summer, which helps regulate body temperature. And when I'm nice and cool at night, I'm not tossing and turning and yeeting the cat off the bed. And look at this cat. I'd never want to do that. And she loves the mattress too. And the box. So if you're interested in evolving your sleep quality, I've got the deal for you. Visit helixsleep.com/Lockstin to get 20% off of your Helix mattress plus 2 free pillows. Yes, 2 extra squishy and lovely fluffy pillows at no extra charge. And they do offer flexible financing options as well, so your spine can get the break it needs now. But not literally break, because it's helping it not break. So the Thunder Badge looks like a flower. Now, there are plants and flowers that symbolize thunder and lightning in things like the language of flowers and feng shui, but none of them really look the part for the badge. So, maybe the badge is like a gold star. Gold is commonly used in finer electronics like computer chips, and being a gold star would be fitting of his military theming after all. Golden stars are used symbolically in many militaries across the world for things like medals and rank insignia, 8-pointed ones too, but sticking to America, where Lieutenant Surge is from, the closest there is this 8-pointed, if you count the stem, leaf star looking thing. It's what lieutenant commanders in the Navy use, which is fitting enough, I suppose, but Surge specifically mentions being in the Army, doesn't he? Which would mean he uses the silver leaf. Unless he's actually a major. Well, he also mentions flying airplanes a lot, and that's like Air Force stuff, so I feel like He wasn't designed with any specific role in mind, just sort of generic US military guy. It was Gen 1 after all, they weren't thinking that deep and specific about these kinds of things. Let's move on to Celadon City now and face Erica for the Rainbow Badge. But why is it a rainbow? For once, the color the city is named after doesn't fit it. Celadon is like a smooth light green. It works for this being a grass-type gym, but not the badge. Well, at least the badge itself looks like a flower with rainbow-colored petals, and flowers can be basically any color of the rainbow, so this is like a bunch of flowers in one. And also, plants absorb light and turn it into energy via photosynthesis, and light is what gives us the whole color spectrum. Plus, rainbows occur when there's lots of water particulates in the air, and most plants love when there's extra moisture in the air. And typically, when there's lots of plants in one area, they actually create more moisture in the air themselves. That's why rainforests are the way they are, and why cutting them all down is drying out the entire planet. Also note that rainbows are seen as girly, and as the creepy old man in front of the gym used to say, "Nee! This gym is great! Only girls are allowed here." Officer Jenny, arrest this man. The Soul Badge for Koga's poison-type gym in Fuchsia City is another weird one. It's kinda like a heart shape, and a lot of poisons and venoms kill by messing with the organs, right? Paralyzing the heart is the deadliest thing a poison can do. Plus, consider that this gym is run by ninjas, assassins who often poisoned their enemies sneakily rather than attacking head-on. And in media, the best ninjas and sneaky dudes often do the whole control your heart rate and breathing thing to be as calm and silent as possible. Batman even does this once to stop poison from killing him. And I guess the heart and soul being so interchangeable in spirituality and aphorism makes it not too weird that it's called the Soul Badge. Some say that's where the soul is located, at your core. Heart. But I still think it would have made more sense to call it the Heart Badge, although this badge isn't shaped like a perfect heart by any means. Rather, it's a flower petal, specifically from the plant the city is named after, the fuchsia. They are most often pink or purple, and purple is the color of the poison type too, so there you go. As a flower, fuchsia symbolizes intuition and liveliness, specifically in a more spiritual sense. Passion, love, anger from your innermost being, your soul. Next up, we have the Marsh Badge in Saffron City, which is the psychic-type gym badge? What do marshes have to do with psychic stuff? Well, hear me out for a bit.
Nope.
What?
I looked at this script. You go on for 2 solid pages about bug bodies, only for me to pop in at the end and give you a 1-sentence answer, which is much more likely.
So what is it?
In English, the gym leader is named after Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Very popular character at the time of the first games. And where do witches normally live?
Oh yeah, swamps, bogs, marshes.
And there you go. I'm out.
Well, I still want to summarize the bog body stuff. Basically, Bronze Age folks in Europe sacrificed kings to appease the gods by putting them in bogs to be mummified, as bogs and marshes were viewed as liminal or sacred places. Perhaps then the same kinds of places that one would meditate at. Psychic-type stuff in Pokemon is fairly broad in what it pulls from, but it is heavily linked to real-world practices that have to do with magic and/or sacred stuff. Even if the people who practiced those practices didn't necessarily think of it as mind or psychic stuff. So I guess there is that. But what's especially curious though is that in Japanese it's called the Gold Badge. Actually, most of the badges originally are just named a color. Gray, blue, orange, pink, green, gold. But gold does symbolically work here. Have you ever wondered why Psyduck, who's yellow, evolves into Golduck, who's blue instead of gold? We have a whole video here that answers that question in significantly more detail, but it has to do with what gold represents symbolically in things like alchemy and mysticism. Gold was seen by alchemists as the perfect union of mind and spirit, or the soul, as it were. It's a metaphor for people becoming divine and more in tune with the mystical and/or metaphysical powers of the world. Gold represented the sun and all of the magics that it invokes on our plane. And even today, the crystal healing crowd will tell you that gold is very conductive and regenerative. It balances the auras and energy fields and attracts positive energy. It's identified with yin energy and amplifies self-confidence and will, and helps us recognize the positive qualities of others through our minds. Gold can also be used in combination with gemstones to help increase their own mystical energies too. And again, the psychic type has a lot to do with just general mysticism, but the badge being a circle within a circle is reminiscent of the alchemic symbol for gold and the sun. And then consider the city the gym is in, Saffron City. Like gold, one of the most expensive metals, the plant it's named after is the most expensive spice in the world, which, despite being a reddish color itself, makes a goldish yellow dye, and makes whatever food you cook it in a warm goldish yellow color, which itself is very important in both Hinduism and Buddhism for many reasons tied to spirituality. And again, spirituality, in this case, usually equals psychic type in Pokemon. So what's next? This one shouldn't take long. The Volcano Badge. It's the fire type badge. It looks like flames. It's named after the thing that is a big fiery mountain spitting out extremely hot lava, a volcano. And it's given to you by Blaine on Cinnabar Island. And wouldn't you know it, Cinnabar itself is red. Wow! And then they had to go and make things weird again for the last badge. Here we have the Earth Badge from the ground type gym in Viridian City, and it looks like a weird flower leaf wand thing. The fact that the petals are shiny and gem-like makes sense, since gems come from the ground and have been associated with chthonic deities for eons. But then, like, you see the Earth Badge in the anime and other game depictions, and it's just straight up a leaf. It's like a fern or something. Well, in a lot of media that involves, like, elemental powers, especially the four classics of water, fire, air, and earth typically also includes plants. I mean, you plant them in the earth, they suck up dirt, you are what you eat and all. But no, there is something much cooler and more solid here that took me by complete surprise. This gym is run by Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket, possibly as like a front or an alibi for him. But either way, while he's named Giovanni in the English version of the game to further solidify that he's like an Italian mob boss to the Western audience, his original name is Sakaki, a common name for Yakuza members in media, but also a kind of tree, the Cleyera japonica, or Sakaki. These trees are considered sacred to those of the Shinto faith, and so wands made out of Sakaki leaves and branches are one of your classic offerings at Shinto shrines. So I guess, in a way, the badge is more from Giovanni rather than from the ground-type gym itself, if that makes sense. But to link it to the ground a bit more, Sakaki trees are commonly planted, in the ground, around Shinto shrines too, in order to become Shinboku, trees worshipped as a place where nature spirits and kami reside. And alongside them, you'll often find rock formations, steels, mounds, and iwakura. These shrines are often built on top of large hills and mounds too, so right on top of a huge pile of earth. It's all a part of Shinto's nature and earth worship. It seems especially fitting then that several generations later, the protector of nature Pokemon would be a ground-type green hexagon thing too. And really, what better way to finish off your big adventure collecting all of the gyms through a large and beautiful natural region? I mean, compare Pokemon's Kanto to the real-world Kanto, which is mostly urban city. It's the biggest metropolitan area in the world. Pokemon's Kanto is still mostly nature. This badge could then be symbolic of a sort of return to, or respect for nature, in a way. After all, these were the first Pokemon games, and Pokemon's creator, Satoshi Tajiri, was inspired by his love of bug catching as a kid, which has proven more and more difficult for modern kids to do because of just how expansive Tokyo and its neighboring cities have become throughout Kanto. So, Pokemon's Kanto is almost like a return to the time when Satoshi was a child, appreciating nature that much more. Or maybe I'm just looking into it too much, and it is just because Shinto Sakaki wand. Giovanni trying to atone for his sins in his own way, I suppose. You never know with these kinds of things, but what do you think? Do you prefer your badges straightforward like Paldea's, or a little bit more mysterious and symbolic like Kanto's? Perhaps a balance could be struck, like in the middle gens. Never stop using your noggin. Check out our side-up video, or this one that goes over Giovanni in much more depth. Trust me, it's Giovanni and Team Rocket. They are not Mafia. Thanks for watching.